Hello and thank you so much for joining me for this video. Today I'm going to show you how I created some loose landscape backgrounds that you can use for all sorts of different applications in your card making. I have a few colors of Distress Oxide sprays, some spray stains, and some mica stains here that I'm going to use for these backgrounds. These are really fun and easy to create. I'll show you how I did it. Let's get started. Okay, I have my spray box here. I have a clean paper towel in the bottom, and I have some extra folded paper towels here ready. This is kind of a messy business. I have my reverse tweezers, and I have some A2 watercolor panels. These are 140-pound cold press. This is not an expensive watercolor paper. I think this is Arteza from Amazon. So less expensive, will do the job really well. So I have these cut down to A2. And I'm going to start by just applying some water to my panel. And let's see, for this one, I am going to do, we're going to do some some grass here at the bottom and sky at the top. So to start for the grass, I'm going to use Distress Oxide spray in Mowed Lawn. We're going to just apply this mostly down here at the bottom. And I'm going to give this a water spray. I'm going to get this moving around a little bit down here at the bottom. And I'll dry it with my heat tool. Okay, another layer of ink. Start with a little bit of water. Another layer of ink. Dry this layer. Okay, next I'm going to start on the sky. So some more water at the top here. I get this overspray off. I really want this mostly blue at the top. And while it's wet, paper towel will pick it up pretty easily. And I'll use Salty Ocean at the top for my sky. A little water to move things around. And I think I'll go ahead and put some Uncharted Mariner on right now just to give it a little darkness here and there. These panels sort of evolve as you are creating them. So don't judge yourself harshly when you're first starting to add the color. It does sort of begin to develop into more of a cohesive scene as you add additional ink, dry the layers, add some water, and move things around. You will eventually end up with something you really, really love. Okay, for the sky area, I want a little bit of sparkle here. I'm going to add some, let's see, let's go with Harvest Moon. We'll give a little bit of a hint of sunshine up here. And you really don't need a lot. Okay, so last thing I want to do is down here at the bottom in the grassy area, I'm going to use a little bit of Wicked Elixir just to give this a little bit of shine, add another dimension here at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to put this one aside to dry. We want to make sure these are thoroughly dry before we use them in projects. So for the next one, I'm going to do kind of a flower field down at the bottom. So same sort of layout, green, some sky. We're going to have a little bit of a transition area here that's a lot lighter, and then I'll add in some flowers down here at the bottom. So I'm going to do the exact same thing, get my panel wet. I'm going to start out up here with a little bit of my Salty Ocean. Bring it down the side a little. My Mowed Lawn, and I want to be very careful to keep my Mowed Lawn down here at the bottom. And we'll give it some water. Do a little forest moss down here at the bottom. We'll give it a little bit of contrast between the light green and the dark green. Here's another panel that I created using the exact same colors and that same sort of layout for the ink spray. So I'm adding a little bit more of that Harvest Moon Distress Mica stain at the top to create sort of a tree canopy area at the top, so it mixes with the Salty Ocean and the Uncharted Mariner to give me a green color. I'm going to go back with a little bit of the blue Uncharted Mariner just to create a little bit more of a sky area over on the right. So just keep playing around with the colors until you have something that you like. Okay, this is fairly dry. I'm going to give it a little bit of dimension here at the bottom. So I'm going to use a quick spray of forest moss, and I just want some big droplets. And I want to use this lumberjack plaid. So I'm going to splatter with this lumberjack plaid. Use a little bit of water. That looks good. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my ink so that I can get some larger drops with my splatter. These are going to be my flowers, and I gave that just a quick mist of water to expand those a little bit. For this panel, I wanted to create some water at the bottom and sky at the top. So I'm going to start with that Uncharted Mariner Salty Ocean combination down here at the bottom, and I'm going to dry this so that the two colors don't mix. And then I can go back at the top, add a little bit of water. I want the sky area to move around a little bit more. So there's the Salty Ocean. I'll go ahead and add a little bit of Uncharted Mariner to give my clouds just some variation. And then I can dry this, and I'll just go back and add more of those two colors in different areas until I have the depth that I want for both the clouds and the sky, and then that water area at the bottom. These inks layer really well once they are dry, but remember, anytime that the ink is wet or anytime you add water, you're going to get more blending versus layering. So you have all of these really amazing backgrounds. What can you do with these? So I like to sort of look at them and determine what would look good on the front. How would this serve a card really well as sort of a background image? So this one, grass, kind of a tree line, a little bit of a sky in behind. This one I think would be really nice with some large die cut flowers. So for this one, I am going to use Impression Obsession Hollyhocks, and I'm just gonna do some really nice multicolored, maybe some inked hollyhocks on the front of this one. So we'll start with that. I die cut some of my hollyhocks, and I'm using this dark violet colored paper. So I'm just going to tape these down. This hollyhock design, these have little centers. Okay, I have my hollyhock die cuts here, and I want to create some yellow centers for each of these. So I'm going to run this through my die cut machine again. Okay, I'm going to pop these up on the cover of my card here. So I'm going to apply some foam squares on the back of each of these, right where I need to place that little inset piece. So this will make kind of a sticky backing here. I'll probably put a little bit of glue on there as well to make sure that it holds. If you cut these die cuts separately, it's a lot easier to find the right inset piece for each of the flowers and to match them up. Okay, I have all my die cuts here, and I have all of these little pieces inlaid. And here's a tip. This definitely is a tedious work. Some people don't like this little detail work. It just isn't the way they like to craft. So pull out a Copic marker, anything you have that would work. And because we have these little foam backers on here, you can just color in the center with a marker. And I did a test on one, and it looks absolutely fine. It will work. I'm gonna just add a little bit of an edge with some Distress ink. I'm using Walnut stain, and I probably won't do all of them. Some of these I might just add a little bit of inking here and there, but I'm using this Altenew blending brush. It's a number 7. I use this in a lot of videos. It is one of my favorite blending brushes. It's very small. It gets into these small areas. I'm going to stamp a sentiment here. I'm going to use the Simon Says stamp Big Scripty Greetings, and I want to use this Sending Big Hugs. So see how my placement looks here. I'm going to hit this with my heat tool just for a second to make sure this is dry. Okay, I have my greeting in place. I'm going to decide how many of these flower stems I want to put on here. The really great thing about these backgrounds is that no two ever turn out exactly alike. So while you might be using the same colors, the same method, the same amount of water and ink, the spray pattern, lots of different things contribute to these backgrounds being very, very different. So as you're creating these and you're going through your stash of backgrounds, you can find multiple backgrounds that sort of give all of your die cuts in the front of your card a really different look. I'm going to create a top fold portrait A2 card base. So I want to cut a piece of heavy cardstock. This is almost the very last of my Classic Crest Solar White, and let's line up my card front. Oh, I like that look. So because we already have a lot of dimension with the flowers, I'm going to just glue this down with a strong liquid adhesive. Right now I am using Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. I like this, it's a large size, fills up my mini bottles. Okay, so this card is complete, and for the inside, I could actually use a couple of these little leftover flowers to do a little bit of added interest on the inside of the card. Okay, so I chose this dark, watery, inky background with the sky here, and I think some lotus flowers would be really nice here down in the water area, and then maybe a larger greeting above or centered. So I'm going to use this Altenew Lotus stamp and die set, and I'm going to ink up, layering ink some of these flowers. Okay, so I want a really light, very, very light pink flower with some darker outline. So I don't really have an ink that I like to create the base layer for the flower. So I have a couple of different Copic markers out here, and I will decide which one I want to color this in with once I've stamped it. So this is, that's a pretty nice color there. Okay. A little too peachy. Okay, so I'm going to go with just the RV00. And this will be my base color. So this will be my third color. Okay, so now I can use my medium orchid as my top layer. There, that is the look I'm going for. So I have this yellow marker out from something earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and use this for the center of my flower. This set also comes with a 2-layer leaf set that includes a die. So I'm going to stamp a couple of these for my scene. I'm going to use Bundled Sage Distress Oxide ink for the base layer, and then I'll go back in with Mowed Lawn for that detail stamp. So now I just need to tape on the corresponding dies, and I can run these through my die cut machine. There's so many fun parts to card making, but I really, really enjoy taking all of these die cuts and arranging them on a front panel. And these inked up front panels that have just so much character, it's really fun to arrange things on these and kind of make this whole scene come to life. And the last one is my little bud here, and that one's going to go up here at the top. Oops. For my sentiment, I'm using this sentiment, You Brighten My Day. It's from the Spellbinders Mini Everyday Sentiment set. This is a foiling set, and I had cut this and created it earlier for a different card. It is foiled on teal cardstock, and it is foiled in Moondust foil. Later on in this video, I'll show you exactly how I created this. I keep lots of prepped A2 card bases handy so I can just pull them out. I sometimes forget to prep a card base before I start making a card, and it's nice to have those on hand ready to go. Okay, that is card number 2. For this next card, I'm using this background, sort of some hillside, a little bit of canopy in the trees, some sky, and I am going to use this Hero Arts Big Hugs stamp and die set. It has this nice large Big Hugs die, and I am going to die cut that from some teal cardstock. I'll cut probably 3 of these so that I can layer those. And then I am going to stamp the I'm Here For You, I'm going to stamp the And Lots of Love from this Big Hug stamp set on this white cardstock. So I have my T-square ruler here, and I'm just trying to line everything up. Make sure that it's straight on the card, that it's centered. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, but I'm also going to use my poker tool here to punch some holes. So this is a very sharp end, and it will definitely punch a hole. I have these little brads in my stash, and I have several different sizes of these. I generally use them for creating covers for journals. I have my wider foam tape here that I'll use to put this on. These are all notes on the back. I usually write notes when I'm doing something like more elaborate inking, so I remember the colors that I used. Okay, love that. Okay, I have a couple of different things I want to use for this last card. This is the field of flowers, a little bit of a hillside, tree canopy, some sky. So I went ahead and created this butterfly. This is a foiling set for very nice butterflies. This is from Globeland, and I foiled this butterfly. So this is just on a sheet of blue cardstock, and then I used this Glimmer foil in Moondust to foil it. And now I want to create a sentiment for the bottom, and I'm going to use that same sentiment. I'm going to just recreate this sentiment, the You Brighten My Day sentiment that we used on the Lotus card. So while I'm waiting for my Glimmer machine to heat up, I'm going to cut down a piece of this turquoise cardstock to fit my sentiment. So it's important to not have extra paper or extra foil on the piece that you are attempting to foil. This will help you to avoid any overfoiling. And this is the secret, I think, if there is a secret to foiling and having it come out really well the very first time you do it, it is to use tape. Leave a little bit of space here at the top so that I can lift this up and put my foil underneath. And then I'm going to cut off any excess foil. That is always very helpful. So I'm going to close this down and I'm going to press the tape down so that everything is held together with this tape. And I'm just waiting for my machine to heat up. Once this is ready, I can put this on and set the timer. Okay, so my platform ready light is on. So I'm going to take my little foil packet here. I'm going to turn it upside down and place it on. And then I'm going to set this timer button. Okay, timer light is solid. So next step is just to put my plates on. I have a paper shim in here because that is what works best for my machine. So I'm going to place these on top, pull this entire set out, and then I can run this through my Spellbinders. And because everything is taped down, it should go through very smoothly. I only go through one way. I don't run it back and forth. And be careful, it will be very, very hot. And my sentiment is foiled perfectly. Okay, so here is my sentiment strip, all die cut. You brighten my day. So I have my foiled butterfly. I've attached some foam squares to the back, and my sentiment strip just needs a strip of foam tape. So I'm using this 1/4 inch foam tape just to give this some support and pop it up a little. Have an A2 card base here. It's a top fold A2 card base, and just gonna fold this and give it a press. Before I adhere my front panel, I want to trim this down to an A2 size. So I'm just sort of turning this around, checking to see which parts I want to trim off. I like the flowers on this panel. It's sort of an impressionistic look. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering everything. I'll remove all of the backing from these foam squares. And I really want this butterfly to be sort of my focal point here at the top. So I'm going to put this at the top of my grassy area with some background, some sky background behind it. And then I will center my sentiment strip right under my butterfly, sort of in the middle of that panel. So now I just need to use some strong liquid adhesive to adhere this to the front of my top fold A2 card base. Okay, that is the final card. Here are all of the cards that I completed in today's video. There is a bonus card, of course. This is up on my blog at prettypaperblackbirds.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a really fun technique. I hope you can incorporate this into your own card making. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Love to see new subscribers, and also I'd love to see people coming over to my blog at prettypaperblackbirds.com. Thanks, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.